Go save a life. It doesn't take a cape, it takes courage. It doesn't take perfection, it takes presence. It doesn't take being a hero, it takes being real. You don't need a platform, you don't need a microphone. You need heart, brutal honesty, and the willingness to stand in the fire with someone who's burning inside. Most people walk by the broken. They avoid the pain. They say, not my problem. But guess what? If you've ever suffered, if you've ever been broken, you were given that pain for a reason, so you could become the blueprint for someone else's survival. You've been through hell, good. That means you speak the language of the damned. You've got the scars that can validate someone else's wounds. You know what it feels like to be alone, worthless, invisible. Use it. Channel it. Show them they can crawl out of that darkness too. Because when you're on your knees and someone helps you up, that moment becomes a lifeline. And when you become that lifeline for someone else, you're not just helping them, you're keeping yourself alive too. Don't just train your body, train your empathy. Don't just lift weights, lift others. Don't just run from pain, run toward those who are in it. Because in the end, you're not going to be remembered for what you achieved. You'll be remembered for the lives you saved when nobody else had the balls to care. So here's the mission. Look around. Someone near you is drowning silently. Be the voice that shatters the silence. Be the hand that refuses to let go. Be the soul that stays when everyone else runs. You want to be hard. You want to be tough. Go save a life. That's the real test. That's the real battlefield. That's what warriors do. Pain was your preparation. Most people run from pain like it's a disease. They bury it, hide it, deny it ever happened. But here's the brutal truth. Your pain is your power if you've got the guts to face it head on and use it. See, life isn't fair. It kicks hard and doesn't care if you're ready or not. But if you've ever been beaten down, broken, humiliated, laughed at, abandoned, good, that means you've got scars, and scars don't lie. They're proof you survived what should have ended you. They're your credentials in a world full of fakes. You think the darkness was pointless. No, that darkness trained you. It built armor around your soul. It taught you the unteachable. It forged empathy. It gave you eyes to see what most people ignore, the suffering in others. And that makes you dangerous in the best way, because now you can walk into someone's storm and say, I've been there. I didn't die, and neither will you. This world is bleeding. It's filled with people who are smiling on the outside and screaming on the inside. And guess what? They won't listen to someone who's never tasted pain. They don't care about your degrees or how many motivational quotes you post, but they'll listen to someone who's got a story, someone who's walked through fire and didn't come out a victim but a fighter. Your pain is the key that unlocks somebody else's prison, but only if you're bold enough to share it. Don't polish it. Don't pretty it up. Give it raw. Give it real, because the world's got enough sugar-coated positivity. What people need is truth. Unfiltered, unapologetic truth. Every breakdown you had, that was training. Every betrayal, training. Every lonely night you cried alone, thinking you wouldn't make it, that was preparation. You were being forged, not forgotten. Life wasn't punishing you. It was preparing you for this moment right now. And don't think for a second that you have to be perfect before you help someone. That's a lie. You don't wait until the storm passes to reach out. You reach while you're still wet, still cold, still bleeding, because people trust real. They don't need a hero, they need a human. One who survived the wreckage and lived to tell the tale. So instead of being ashamed of what you went through, be proud of it. Own your story like a warrior wears his scars. You didn't just survive, you gained a weapon, a tool, a language that connects straight to the heart of those still trapped. You've got a voice that can echo through someone's silence and say, you're not alone. I know what this feels like, and you can fight your way out. Saving a life isn't about being strong all the time. It's about being honest, vulnerable, willing to say, I fell apart too, but I rebuilt. When someone's hanging on by a thread, they don't need a motivational poster. They need proof that it's possible to get back up. You're that proof, so don't waste your pain, don't bury it, don't numb it out with distractions and fake confidence. Leverage it, weaponize it, let it become the light that guides someone else out of the abyss. Because if you made it through hell, then your story isn't just yours anymore. It belongs to the ones still walking through fire, looking for a way out. You were prepared for this. You were chosen to be a lifeline. And now it's time to show the world why you didn't quit so someone else doesn't have to. Your presence can save someone. You think you need to say something profound. Think you need to have the right words, the perfect advice, some damn inspirational quote to save somebody? You don't. Let me break it down for you. Your presence alone can save a life. There are people out there who haven't heard from a soul in days, weeks, even months. They're surrounded by noise but feel invisible. Drowning in pain, but no one notices because they've mastered the art of pretending. Smiles during the day, numbness at night. They walk through life like ghosts, just waiting for someone, anyone, to actually see them. Not just glance, but see them. That's where you come in, not as a savior, not as some self-help guru, just as a real human being who refuses to ignore what's uncomfortable. We live in a world addicted to convenience. Conversations are short, attention spans are shorter. Everyone's got headphones in, faces buried in screens, pretending like we're all too busy to give a damn. But when someone's about to jump, it's not your motivational speeches that will stop them. It's the simple, brutal power of being there. You don't need to fix them. You don't need to understand every detail. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to show the hell up. When someone's lost in the fog, spiraling, all they need is a hand on their shoulder, a voice that says, I'm here. Not, here's what you should do. Not, just think positive. No, just, I'm not leaving. That's presence, and that's power. But most people don't have the courage to lean in, because it's messy, because it's uncomfortable, because they might cry. They might rage, they might unload years of buried trauma, and let's be real. You weren't trained for that, but you were built for it. You've been through your own hell. You've sat alone in your own darkness. So don't tell me you can't sit in someone else's for a few minutes. Do you know what real strength looks like? It's standing with someone who's breaking, holding that weight with them without trying to escape. That kind of strength doesn't get applause, it doesn't get posted online, but it saves lives in silence, and you won't always know the difference you made. You might never hear the words thank you, but make no mistake, your presence might be the only reason someone decides to stay one more day. One more minute, one more breath. You don't need a platform, you don't need followers, you need heart, courage, grit. You need to be the kind of person who picks up on the quiet pain in a friend's voice, who checks in when no one else does, who sees the signs and refuses to walk away. Presence means showing up even when you don't feel like it, even when you're tired, even when you've got your own problems, because being there for someone else isn't about convenience, it's about commitment. And don't underestimate the little things, a text, a call, a sit down with no judgment. That's not small, that's a lifeline, and lifelines don't shout, they don't preach, they stay, they hold, they listen. You might think, who am I to help anyone? Let me tell you who you are. You're someone who's still standing, someone who's been through the fire and didn't fold. That means you're qualified to be present for someone else who's barely holding on. So step up, be aware, look around, someone near you is fading and you have the power to stop it. Not with a miracle, not with money, just with presence, no excuses, no hesitation, no delay. Be the anchor in someone's storm. Be the quiet strength in someone's chaos. Be the reason someone decides not to quit today, because one moment of presence can echo for a lifetime. That's how you save a life. Speak life into darkness, let's get something straight. Words matter. Not the fake, polished ones, not the nice gay script you copy from a podcast. I'm talking about raw, unfiltered, straight from your gut truth. Because when someone's stuck in a dark place, when they're one bad decision away from checking out, they don't need soft encouragement. They need words that shock their system, ignite their soul, and remind them that they still have a fight left inside. You don't whisper into the darkness, you don't sugarcoat it, you speak life with force. With truth, with power, and if you've never been in that place, if you've never sat on the edge with your fists clenched, thinking there's no way out, then you don't understand what your words could mean to someone who's living there. But if you have been there, if you've walked that brutal hallway between pain and numbness, then your voice is exactly what they need to hear. You're fluent in suffering, and that's your weapon. When someone's spiraling, they don't need stay positive. That's a slap in the face. They don't need vague nonsense like this too shall pass. That's not a lifeline, that's a cop-out. What they need is a verbal defibrillator. They need someone who grabs them by the soul and says, "No, you don't quit on me, not today, not like this." They need words that cut through the noise, break past the numbness, and remind them who the hell they are. Words that remind them they're not alone, that the darkness isn't permanent, and that pain doesn't get the final say. You know what kind of words I'm talking about. The kind that rattle bones, the kind that say, "You've been through worse than this. You've survived demons you don't talk about, and you've got more left than you think." The kind of words that make someone stop crying and start clenching their fists again. That's what real power looks like. This isn't about being eloquent. This isn't about using the right vocabulary. It's about being honest, even when it's uncomfortable. Even when it's messy. Sometimes saving a life looks like cussing someone out of the darkness. Sometimes it means yelling louder than the voices in their head. And sometimes it means just saying, "I see you, I've been there, and I'm not letting you die like this." There's nothing passive about it. You can't be soft when someone's life is on the line. You speak with intensity because the enemy is brutal. Depression doesn't whisper, it screams. Anxiety doesn't ask questions. It attacks, so your response better carry weight. It better have grit, it better mean something, and don't think it's just what you say. It's how you say it, your energy, your presence, your conviction, because people can smell fake from a mile away. If you don't believe what you're saying, they won't either. But if you bring that heat, if you speak with the fire of someone who's lived through hell and refused to stay there, they'll feel it. You don't need to fix them. You don't need to have all the answers, but you do need to say what most people are too scared to say. You matter, you're worth fighting for, and I'm not letting you go out like this. You don't whisper that. You declare it, you scream it into the storm, because words have the power to destroy. But they also have the power to resurrect, and you've got that power right now, today. So the next time someone near you is silent, off, or fading, don't ignore it. Don't play it safe. Open your mouth and speak life into their darkness. It might feel awkward, it might get ugly, but one conversation, one truth, one brutally honest moment, that can be the difference between a funeral and a comeback. You think it's just a sentence? No, it's a damn lifeline. Real strength is helping others rise. You want to talk about strength? Let's get one thing straight. Strength isn't flexing your biceps. It's not your bench press numbers or your marathon medals. Strength is what you do when someone else is too broken to stand on their own, and you drop everything to carry them. That's what separates the tough from the truly unbreakable. You think grinding in the gym makes you hard? That's discipline, respect. But don't confuse that with strength of character. Real strength is compassion under pressure. Real strength is being willing to carry someone else's pain when yours is already tearing you apart. Anyone can be strong for themselves, but can you be strong for someone else? Can you hold them up when they've lost everything? Can you give them your last breath when they can't even inhale anymore? See, this world has glamorized toughness. We praise the lone wolves, the I don't need nobody at types, but truth is, we all need somebody, and the strongest among us are the ones who realize that. The strongest people in the room are the ones who lean in when everyone else runs away. You know why that matters, because most people are faking it. They're hurting, they're falling apart inside, but they've got masks on, smiles painted over pain, laughter covering up suicidal thoughts. And they think they're weak for needing help. So if you're truly strong, if you've got grit in your gut and fire in your soul, then don't just climb your own mountain. Go back down and help someone else up theirs. And it's not about giving speeches. It's not about motivational one-liners. It's about presence, action, sacrifice. You hold their hand when it's shaking. You answer their call at 2 a.m. when you're dead tired. You sit with them in their silence, not to fix them, but to prove they're not invisible. That's real strength. You know what's weak, walking past someone who's breaking down and acting like it's not your problem. You know what's easy, saying, "I'll pray for you," and walking away. You know what's hard, looking that pain dead in the eyes and saying, "I'm staying right here. I'll carry the weight with you until you remember how strong you are." It's not about being a savior. It's not about fixing their mess. It's about reminding them of their worth when they've forgotten. It's about being the mirror that reflects their strength back at them when they can't see it. Sometimes saving a life doesn't look like CPR. It looks like showing up when they expected to be left behind. It looks like saying, "You're not alone," and meaning it not once, not when it's convenient, but every damn time they need to hear it. That's not weakness. That's warrior-level strength. And let me hit you with something you probably haven't heard. You can't help someone up without lifting yourself too. Every time you choose someone else over your own comfort, you're building something inside that can't be shaken. You're reinforcing your purpose. You're feeding your soul, because this life, it's not just about what you conquer for yourself. It's about how many people you drag out of hell with you. So stop looking at strength like it's a trophy. Strength is a tool, it's a weapon, and the way you use it defines who the hell you really are. You say you're built different, then act like it. When others walk away, you walk in. When others ignore the pain, you confront it. When someone's on their knees, you lift. You don't need a camera to prove it. You don't need applause, because saving someone else won't get you likes, it'll get you something far greater, meaning that's the test. That's the mission. That's what separates the muscle from the mindset. Real strength is helping others rise, no matter what it costs you. Saving others will save you too. You think you're doing it for them. You think reaching out, showing up, staying present, holding them up. It's all about saving them, and yeah, it is. But here's the part most people miss. When you save someone else, you're saving yourself too. You've been through hell, you've been hurt, betrayed, broken, ignored. Maybe you still carry that pain quietly. Maybe the silence in your own life is louder than any scream. But let me tell you something, the moment you decide to fight for someone else, something shifts inside you. The moment you choose to become the light in someone else's darkness, you start chasing away your own. We're not meant to go through life numb. We're not meant to sit in our pain, pretending it's fine. But pain doesn't go away by hiding it. It goes away when you repurpose it, when you use it to build something, when you turn it into a weapon. Not to destroy, but to protect, to pull, to resurrect. You want healing. Stop looking for peace in isolation. Stop pretending you'll figure it out alone. You heal when you get in the mud with someone else and say, "We're getting out of this together." There's something primal about that. Something powerful, because it's no longer about your pain. It's about the mission. It's about taking all that hurt, all that rage, all those tears, and turning it into fuel. Not just to survive, but to save. And when you show up for someone else, when you watch the light come back into their eyes because of you, it reminds you why you're still breathing. It gives all the darkness you endured a reason. It gives the suffering purpose. You become the proof that pain doesn't get to win. But here's the truth. You can't fake this. You can't half-ass your way into saving someone. You have to be fully there, fully present. You have to feel again. That's the cost, and yeah, it's risky. It's uncomfortable. It'll crack you open. But the payoff, it's life changing. Every time you lift someone out of the dirt, you pull a little bit of your own soul out too. Every time you tell someone don't quit, you remind yourself not to quit either. Every time you believe in someone when they can't believe in themselves, you start believing in yourself again. It's a loop. A cycle, a battle rhythm. You save them and they save you, without even knowing it. You don't have to be fully healed to help someone. That's a myth. You just have to be honest. You just have to be willing. You just have to show up broken and refuse to leave until they remember they can fight. And the more you show up, the more you realize, this is why I survived. Not to be comfortable, not to be safe, but to be a lifeline. A weapon, a warrior that turns wounds into wisdom, pain into purpose, and scars into signals that say, I made it through, you will too. Saving lives isn't about drama, it's not a movie scene, it's a quiet war you fight every day, just by choosing to care. Just by choosing not to let someone drown. And guess what? Every time you pull someone out, you climb a little higher. Every time you step into someone else's storm, the storms inside you get quieter. That's the paradox. You save others to save yourself, so stop waiting for a sign. Stop waiting to feel whole before you act. Use your brokenness as your map. Use your scars as your armor. Use your pain as your reason. Because out there right now is someone praying for a voice like yours, someone dying to know they matter, someone begging the world to give them just one more reason to stay. Be that reason, and you'll realize that in the process of saving them, you saved yourself too. This is what you were built for. You've been lied to your whole life. They told you strength was about winning. They told you success was about climbing. They told you survival was enough. But here's the truth. Your life is not just yours. Your pain, it wasn't a punishment. It was a blueprint, a map to someone else's escape route. You weren't just meant to rise. You were meant to reach back and pull others up with you. Saving a life doesn't always look like a heroic act. Sometimes it's a conversation. Sometimes it's sitting in silence with someone who's falling apart. Sometimes it's refusing to let someone go when the whole damn world already has. You've got that kind of power. You are that kind of warrior, but this world has gotten soft. People scroll past pain like it's a nuisance. They post quotes, but they won't pick up the phone. They talk about checking in, but never actually do it. And while they pretend they care, people are dying inside, not you. You're different. You've got scars that scream survival. You've got a heart that doesn't flinch in the face of suffering. You've got the fire to stand in someone else's storm and say, I'm not leaving. That's what this is about. Not being the strongest in the gym, not being the most disciplined in the room, but being the most relentless when it comes to saving someone else's soul. You want purpose. Here it is. You want meaning. Here's your mission. Save a life, not someday, not when it's easy, not when you feel ready, now, today. Because the greatest thing you'll ever do in this life is not what you accomplish for yourself, but who you refuse to give up on when they had nothing left. You were built for this. You were trained in darkness for this. You were chosen to be a light when everyone else turned away. So go, find the ones fading, find the ones silent, find the ones who stopped believing. And show them that even in the ugliest, coldest, most hopeless places, a warrior will always show up. This world doesn't need more influencers. It needs more lifelines. Be one, save a life, and in doing that, you'll finally understand that you were born to do more than just survive. You were born to lead others out of hell.